Welcome to the Cybersecurity and Cloud Podcast, the podcast where we learn from cybersecurity experts how to stay safe, private, and secure on the cloud and in code. CSCP is hosted by Francesco Cipollone, your cybersecurity friend with a passion for all things cyber and sharing stories of other professionals with you. This episode is sponsored by AppSec Phoenix, the next generation application security platform, enabling organizations to run application security programs in a smart way. Visit www.appsecphoenix.com to learn more.
And we have a question actually on the sideline from Masha about how did you start in CrossFit?
Yeah, I saw that. So I've been doing it, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, on and off. I've been stagnating a bit, so I'd been cycling a lot. I spent a lot of time working about 15, 16 miles from where I lived when I was in Harpenden, and cycled most days to work, and then did a bit of kind of traditional gymming, so biceps and chest or whatever.
It's a lot of cycling.
So I did that kind of 3 to 5 days a week. You probably usually about 3 or 4 days a week, plus some gym and stuff. And I'd kind of been doing that for a while. I was in a bit of a rut. Then I kind of came across the CrossFit thing and had completely unrealistic expectations about how good I'd get at it, but thought it'd be some fun, and just got into it. And it's just good fun. And it's you get to throw weights around and have a laugh, and I can preach about it a little bit, whether it's CrossFit or any it doesn't have to be that brand, right? But any kind of well put together sort of functional fitness type program, you get to do a variety of things, whether it's a bit of lifting, body weight stuff, running, rowing, cycling, jumping on boxes, burpees, kettlebells. It's just a huge range of things. But the classes, you all do the same thing. So like infinitely scalable is kind of the term. So like take a pull up. You can do a pull up where obviously you pull down to get your chin over the bar. You can do that to get your chest to the bar. You can do it, there's various gymnastic ways of doing more of them, but you can also do it with a band or jumping or with your feet just on a box. So you can use your legs a little bit to pull yourself up, but using your legs to help. So you can do a bunch of ways of doing the same movement, but with a different scale, so that everyone from someone who's like an international fire-breathing athlete to your gran at the end of the class will have done effectively the same workout. There may be less range of movement, lighter weights, modified movements, but they'll have done the same workout. And at the end of it, they're all high fives, they're all fist bumps, lying on the floor, sweating away, but you've done the same thing. And it builds great camaraderie because you do it together. And one of the things I love about the kind of classes we do is if it's a workout, you tend to have 2 types of workout. They're either for time, so it's how many, you'll do a set number of reps and finish after X minutes, or they're within a given time, how many can you do? So it'll be a 20-minute long workout or whatever, and you do as much as you can in that time. For the ones where it's not for time, where it's for time, so you're doing X reps and how quickly you can do them. It might be deadlifts and running and box jumps. You've got to do 50 of each and a 100-meter run or whatever it is. You do the people who finished cheer on the people who haven't finished. So it's not like,
that's nice.
Yes, there's no kind of like, you get a bit of bants because we're gym people, right? And we're a bit silly, but fundamentally it's actually really about the camaraderie and helping people. And if you're the last person in the gym, if you're the last person to finish a certain workout, you'll probably find everyone else is around you cheering you on and clapping you and giving you encouragement, not being, hey, I won. So there's none of that. It's all about being a group of people together.
Supportive.
Yeah, it's really good. That's why I kind of love it. That's why I did a couple of the coaching courses, and I've had a little hiatus because of work, but I'm going back to it in a couple of weeks, just doing a night a week of coaching because I just enjoy it. And it's a bit different from the office, right? I get to jump up and down and shout at people.
Yeah.
Which isn't that much different from the office, but it is a little bit.
So you do boot camp. You should do security boot camp while doing CrossFit.
Oh yeah, I've been telling my team they're gonna have to come along and do a workout with me at some point.
I'm in for it. Masha's been chasing me for trying CrossFit, so I need to.
Cool.
But on the subject, actually, how important is for you to do sport and to balance sport and work? So how important is that fine balance?
So I think it's whether it's sport or something else. I think having some hobbies outside of work are super important. Whatever your job is, if you've got a stressful job, I guess one thing that's interesting about security and other operational roles is you're sort of always on. So you're always like, could something happen? Is something going to happen? So even though I'm not on call in terms of being paid to be on call, I am on call 24/7, right? If something bad goes wrong, I'm going to be involved.
Your face.
Yeah. So having an outlet that de-stresses you and takes your mind off it is really, really important. And that, it could be stamp collecting, it could be sport, it could be tiddlywinks, right? It doesn't really matter necessarily what it is. It's just something where you've got a hobby, you've got a passion that is separate from what you do for your day job. Obviously, I also think there's some other benefits of sport, right? In terms of it makes you healthier, it makes you more resilient. It gives you discipline because you turn up and do it. So like last night, I was pretty tired. I dropped my little one back to her mum, but I needed to go. I needed to do some exercise. So I got to gym like 20 past 8. It shut at 9, but I still got in there. I still did my squats and a few pull-ups and got it done, right? So it gives you that kind of discipline where you're going to go and get it done.
And you feel better.
You feel awesome. But I think having some discipline and being reasonably healthy just makes you better at stuff. So yeah, I recommend to anyone. It doesn't have to be CrossFit, whether it's running, CrossFit, going to the gym. Do some exercise.
45.
Be healthy. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of some resistance work. Doing some work with weights hugely benefits you in terms of everything from bone density to overall strength. We all know the stats on how much weaker and how much more kind of fat to muscle people get as they get older. You lose. Yeah. I can't put the exact stats, but it's a pound or two of muscle every decade of your life if you don't work really hard to kind of keep it from like 20, 30 onwards. So. It makes a huge difference to be able to do things, pick up your child, run for the bus, whatever happens to be. Yeah. So I think, so it's just, being fit and healthy is hugely beneficial, and combining being fit and healthy with having some passions outside of your job just helps you wind down, takes your mind off it, and just gives you that kind of ability to be resilient and deal with things.
And would you ever make it mandatory as part of the hiring or not?
Absolutely not. I'm not sure.
If you don't do CrossFit, I'm not going to hire.
That'd be pretty limiting. Given that I'm a massive proponent for kind of diversity and building diverse teams, I'm not sure that kind of goes too well. But if I could nudge my team to be healthier, I definitely would. I'm not saying they're not healthy, but just in general, I think being healthy and getting out there is super important. But that could just be a walk, right? If you just regularly go out for a walk, that's better for you than not. So.
Or a bike at home during the cold, like Stu does.
Yeah. Get outside, get some fresh air.
No, but I think it's great. And trying to mix that, working from home, or like Stu does, like work from home and sometimes is at meeting and has the chance to actually jump on a bike and sweat a little bit, I think should be more encouraged rather than just purely, not in traditional environment, not in office environment, because that might be challenging. But if you work from home, I tend to find that you're much more static than in an office. So maybe meeting on a bike.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also helps you think, right? So the reality is, especially if you're in kind of I don't know what the term is, like thought leadership type role. So you're more solving problems or trying to kind of work out how to deal with things, whatever else. Sitting at your desk, trying to solve it and desperately trying to think about it often doesn't get you there. But you go out for a walk, you think about some other stuff, and you free up, your left brain or whatever it is to do some thinking and give you some answers. You solve problems. We all know that. You're sitting there watching TV or going for a wander, and you're like, oh, and an answer to a question someone asked you a week ago pops in your head, right? And so so I think there's a lot to be said for that kind of just giving yourself freedom to think. And going for a walk to solve problems isn't not working, right? If I see one on my team and they go out and they have a walk around a block for a little while and come back and they've solved something, they're delivering really cool work. They've given themselves the space to solve a problem. So and
that's how you measure productivity, and not just with numbers, right?
Oh, absolutely. I don't care where my team is in terms of that. We have to have some presence in the office because of what we do, especially in our London office, because we're on the same floor as our exec. So I always like to make sure there's at least some people in the office. So if something happens or an exec's got a question, they're not like, oh, where's security? But fundamentally, we're really flexible. All of my team does a bunch of homeworking. I've got 2, I think soon to be 3 people who are almost entirely remote. So they come in the office maybe once every couple of months. We're spread across more than one country and multiple offices anyway, right? So for me, it's deliver awesome work, be engaged, and kind of get what needs to be done. And it's not about presenteeism. It's not about is your bum on a seat in the office 9 to 5:30. It's about, are you engaged? Are we helping you do a great job? And are you able to be it's a terrible social media term, but be your best self. If someone's more introverted or quieter, or they've got family reasons to work funny hours or whatever else, go for your life.
Go for it.
Yeah.
No, I think you make employee more linked to the company, to you, because it just that flexibility that helps a lot. And I entirely embrace being hidden everywhere, talking at conference, mixing that family and home life plus work life. I think it's key. But you touch a point on diversity. So what are the key things that you encourage people to do on diversity? I'm big on diversity, and we had different clashing opinions here and there. And I think being opinionated is challenging nowadays for a reason or another. But what will be your suggestion to follow CISO, follow community to get more diversity, and not just women in cyber?
So for me, it's just being a great team to work for as much as possible, being flexible, being open to different ways of working, and you have to be open to challenge. So like you touched on, the more cognitive diversity you have in a team, the more different ways you have thinking about things, the more different viewpoints you have, the more chance will be of disagreement. But that's good, because then you'll get better solutions. So as long as you kind of build or foster kind of a culture of kind of positive disagreement, not in terms of people can disagree and be adult about it and have a discussion and agree the way forward, you'll get much better outcomes. So it's really nice. Like I touched on when I first joined here, it was kind of the Kev show for a while. And that's kind of cool, because everyone's like, yeah, that's the right thing to be doing. Hey, that's great. You're awesome. But that doesn't get you to the best outcomes over time. So you need people who think differently. You need people who are going to say, no, Kev, that's a stupid idea. You should do it like this. And for me to go, I don't really, for me to lay the smack down. But no, but the reality is you need that, and you need to foster that, and you need to have a culture where people can do that. And I think one of the things you have to be really aware of is how people like to communicate as well. So it's really easy to kind of think the high flyers in your team are the ones that are most out there, that are chatting the most, that are talking the most, and you see them engaged everywhere and they're doing stuff, and it's great. And they're probably doing great work. But you may also have quieter people who are, a bit more introverted, a bit more anxious, whatever else, and they do their communication via Slack channels or via other things. So they're quieter, or they're just delivering awesome work because they've got some projects to deliver on or whatever. So I think you have to be really aware of how people best communicate and how to get the best out of them, and recognize that people will contribute in very different ways, so that you don't end up giving promotion after promotion to the people you see doing the most sort of visible, out there, vocal stuff. Yeah, and it's creating that culture that allows those different ways of comms as well. So you have, when you're trying to solve problems, you may have, meetings, and you may have chats, and you may have a presentation someone's working on and a Slack channel, and you make sure you try and bring them together so that people can contribute in the way that works best for them. Same with the flexible working stuff, right? If you demand people being in the office, those who've got families or those who've got, people they're looking after, or even pets or whatever else, will be challenged. If you're flexible about your working and flexible about the hours people work as much as you can be and everything else, you make it easier for people with different challenges and different lives and different lifestyles to be part of your team. For me, because our team in Canada, for example, is like 6-8 hours behind us. If I've got people who love a lie-in and work a bit later, that works really well, because there'll be more crossover with the people in Canada. So, there's always benefits to different ways of working, whether it's longer coverage because you've got people working different hours, or because people are engaged. We had a small incident a year or so ago, and it involved some kind of cloud stuff. And because they're engaged, and because they want to help, and because we treat people well, probably half or 2/3 of our cloud security team jumped on a call with the SecOps team to help them do it, even though they weren't technically on call. So, you get that kind of back in spades. If you treat people well and build that team where people are trusted and empowered and feel great about your team, you get it back more than far more than a bit of presenteeism, because they'll go the extra mile. Yeah, you trust them to do the right thing, but they'll want to help. So I think if you need a selfish reason for building a really good team and treating people well, it's that you'll get more out of them. If you need that selfish kind of why should I do it, you'll get more. You'll get more delivery. You'll get a team that's happier. You'll get less churn. So as a leader of a team, it makes your life far better, and you'll hopefully attract better people, because it's like, hey, they're a great company to work for. You only have to look at Stu's super vocal, but there's a bunch of people on my team who but look at the stuff he's putting out there. He's like, I found my dream job. This is a great place to work. So, by doing that, you get advocates as well. So you get people who go the extra mile for you. You get better outcomes. You get better engagement. You get less churn, and you get people advocate for how good it is to work for you. So when you do need to grow, or you do need to replace people, you'll hopefully find better people because your team's going, hey, this is a great place to work, come and join us. So yeah, and it's
you don't rely on the traditional recruitment, and you have also that channel of people that want to get to you.
Yeah, like our TA team loves us because we 90% of our roles we fill ourselves. So they get
that's great.
They get, as when we have churn or when we grow, our talent acquisition team kind of get a really easy ride because they get to kind of close security roles without having to necessarily do too much work. I mean, they're a great team, but it's just, we've got good networks and we focus on kind of getting stuff out there and trying to keep our job spec simple. We had a couple slip out last year that were a bit more complicated, but we kind of reined them in. Yeah, that's my miss. But yeah, so it's, for me, it's I don't do how do I get, this diversity or that diversity. I just try and be a cool place for anyone. And then hopefully that kind of just brings the diversity by anyone can work here. I think I use one of the examples I use in terms of kind of how you have to kind of think a bit differently or look beyond how someone looks is I used to coach a guy in the Blackfriars where I coached before where I'm now. He was called Ravi. Hopefully you won't mind me mentioning him, but he was profoundly deaf. Right. So he was a middle-class white guy. So if I hired him and he's walked past my bank of desks, you go, oh, look, Kev's hired another middle-class white guy. But he was profoundly deaf from the day he was born. So his way of looking at the world was totally different to mine. And it made me think about how I interacted with him, because the number of times I would shout Ravi across the gym and then have to smack my head because I'm like, yeah, well done, Kev.
That won't work.
You're shouting at a deaf guy across the room.
Literally.
Try to make where you work as good as possible and as open as possible for anyone. Embrace that diversity, embrace challenge,
creative
and also
thinking. Also
learn from yourself how when you have people who are different, whether it's mental differences in terms of do they have anxiety or Asperger's or anything else that makes their way they interact with you differently, or physical disabilities changes, whatever it is. Then you have to try and think about how you interact with people as well, and you have to be really open to learning how to interact better because you might not be doing it well.
This episode is brought to you by the generosity of AppSec Phoenix Ltd. AppSec helps startups and enterprises solve complex software security problems by using smart data aggregation and complex machine learning software. Discover how AppSec Phoenix helps CISO and developers remove friction and maximize the use of DevSecOps professionals at www.appsecphoenix.com. AppSec Phoenix is the new and smart dev-first way to manage your software vulnerability. Follow the tag #AppSecSmart.
And have you ever had challenge where you were in a particularly stressful situation or stressful condition of the company and you had different people just cracking under pressure because they were different mindset, different things, or not performing that well under stress?
So we've had some examples of that kind of stuff, and it comes back to being that support, manager or leader, whatever term you want to use, but being as supportive as you can and allowing people space. If someone is struggling, much as you may need the work to get done, you have to actually step back and say you're more important than the work. So I always say to my team, you and your family are more important than the work. Look after yourselves. So, whether it's someone's got to, take, if their child needs operation or they're not feeling great or they're feeling overwhelmed, whatever it is, take that time you need to look after yourself. Obviously, I can't give any specific examples because that's private. But I'm very big on how can I support the team, and when people need it, obviously, they let them take the time they need to make sure they're okay, because then they're going to come back. And again, it goes back to what I was saying before, right? If you look after your team and make sure they're okay, you then don't have someone who either leaves or ends up on long-term sick or whatever else. And then when they do come back and want and get stuck in and get involved, they're again, I don't know if they're grateful or they understand that you treated them well and looked after them. So you get it back even more because you have people like, this is really cool.
Passion and commitment.
Yeah. And I've been looked after and Kev took some heat, or our team took some heat for not delivering X or Y, or someone else in the team picked up some extra work to make sure we did deliver it so that I could be okay. And now I'm going to make sure I look after the rest of my team and I'm really passionate and engaged with the team. So, again, you can always put, if you need it, it's always a selfish slant on this, which is you get more back and you get a better team. But there's also the fact that,
you have to deliver to the business in the end. So you're responsible, your face is on it. But as a leader, it's a great leader that you demonstrate to be, how do you shelter your team?
And for me, it's provides endless satisfaction. If I've helped someone and got them through something, a difficult time, or helped them, that's probably too strong, helped them get through a difficult time and made sure they knew their job was safe and they came back to it and they've been looked after. The satisfaction I get out of helping people and knowing that, I've been a positive impact on their life and
they'll always remember you.
And for me, well, it's not about what they think. It's just for me, it's really satisfying that I've got to help someone, and I'm in a privileged position where I get to kind of run my team how I want, and I get to, make sure I can look after my team as well as I can.
That's amazing. And we have another question, a little bit challenging from Ivano about your opinion about recruiter. I'm not going to read the second part. They tend to be opinionated about a lot of fields.
Yeah, I mean, it's their recruiters, right? Their job is to find people. Their job isn't necessarily to be experts in all of the things we do. And I think that's where some of the challenges come from, because when you're recruiting for, some of the experienced recruiters do have quite a good sensor for kind of, is this guy telling the truth or not? But because they're not experts at field X, if I come in with a shiny looking CV and go, hey, I smashed doing X, they're probably going to believe that and then pass them on. So for recruiters that aren't security experts in our fields, I guess, bullshit filter, excuse my French, is what they have to have, right? But if that's what they've got, they haven't got the expertise. They have to be good at sniffing out, is this true or not? And obviously they can then pass you candidates that aren't amazing because the candidate told them they were amazing. So, I kind of get their pain a little bit, and it's a bit of a niche field, so it must be harder. But equally, they do charge a lot of money, so I guess we can expect that. Unlike, all things, there's good recruiters and bad recruiters. I work with some really good ones that specialize in our field.
Getting involved in the community.
Yeah, they're the same. It's the same as any kind of sales thing, right? If they're easy to work with, they don't harass you, they help you when you need it. They might touch base every now and then, but then, the amount of spam I get was just, hey, I've got this great person that's looking for a role, and it's like, I haven't told you I'm hiring. Why are you sending me this stuff? Yeah. So, they make a bad name for themselves with the kind of the cold calling approach they do. I think Ivano's added a follow-up, which isn't there the possibility.
He's a gatekeeper.
Which is the same problem as with HR and tick boxes, right? Which is if you've put a bunch of specs out there that says must have XYZ, must have degree, whatever else, it won't get through the HR or people team. Same thing with recruiters. Someone could have sent a recruiter who would be great for your team, but because they'd miss a tick box or haven't got the right keywords, the recruiter could filter them out. So yeah, that's absolutely a great point. And that's why I think LinkedIn and things are so powerful, because there's a lot of problems with social platforms that we can touch on separately. But for things like job hunting, if you're looking for a job, a lot of companies will advertise them on there. If you're looking for people, having your networks and that power of, if you know someone and you say, hey, Kev, this person's really cool, you probably should have a chat with them if you're looking for this type of person. I probably will. So that kind of recommendation stuff and someone personally getting in touch, I think, is also really important in terms of, whether it's, I would normally point them towards our TA team first, because that's they like to kind of do a little initial sort of touch base and keep a record of who's applying. So that's all captured. But the reality is it's those kind of things do circumvent recruiters quite a lot. But equally, good recruiters are really helpful, because that if they sent you 5 candidates, they've done some screening, the recruiter knows what you're looking for. And especially if you've built up a bit of a relationship with the recruiter, they know a bit about you and the culture. The culture and stuff. So it can help filter stuff, good and bad. And like everything, there's good ones who are great to work with, and there's bad ones, like there's bad salespeople in all fields.
And Lisa, what is the toughest challenge you have faced in your current role?
Probably getting out of my own and my team's way, I think. So as I've kind of grown into the role and built the bigger team, it's kind of what I touched on before. It's getting used to not knowing literally everything that's happening and doing the best job. It's actually, and also realizing that then lets me be better at what I need to be. So, a lot of my role is keeping stuff out of my ways team, unblocking things for the team, making sure the board and the exec support what we do, getting approval for our budget, all of those kind of things that if I do means my team can then focus on doing what they need to, knowing they've got the support, knowing that they've got the budget, whatever else. So getting out my own way and my team's way, I think, and just learning to be, I guess leader is, I hate using that term because it sounds like I'm calling myself an awesome leader, but I guess
yes, you can. You demonstrate. But you talk as a leader,
so it's being that's kind of being a leader for the team and not so much of a doer. So and I love tech stuff, right? So I do try and get a bit involved. I'm in an AWS call tomorrow or meeting tomorrow, sorry, just because I want to learn about what's going on. I don't strictly have to be there. But yeah, so it's getting out that way, and it's letting my team be awesome at what they do whilst not meddling too much.
So we almost running close to the time, so I don't wanna hold you for more. But if we can leave everybody with like a positive message around cybersecurity or the community or whatever you want to leave, give us 10 seconds or how much time you want for positive message for the community and for cyber.
So I think the positive message is be positive, right? We all love this. If you're in security, you probably love what you do. You don't. There's a few people, I think, getting into it because of money, but you can soon sniff them out. But I think reality is if you're doing something you're passionate about, remind yourself how lucky we are. We're working in a field that's really interesting. We have to learn stuff new every day. We can earn a reasonable salary doing it. We're probably fairly safe in our careers, maybe not in our jobs, that specific job, but certainly career-wise, it's a good place to be. And most of us are, because it's a decent career and a decent place to be, probably able to feed ourselves and our families, and we've got roofs above our head and all of those kind of things we just take for granted, right? So as someone just said, we could be working in a coal mine. Exactly, right? So literally, it's really easy to get sucked into the burnout. It's hard.
Politics.
No one appreciates us. No one cares about security, but they do because they're paying a salary, right? So fundamentally, just try to just take that little moment every day to go, I am grateful for my life being awesome, and I'm touch wood, most of us are healthy, have friends, have family, have jobs. If we don't have jobs, we can probably get another job fairly easily because of security, skill shortage, buzzword. Yeah, so it's just that, and I do that to myself because it's really easy. You get to the end of the month and you've burnt your cash, or you're giving, you've had a divorce, or whatever else you've gone through. Obviously I say that because I've just done it. But it's really easy to get kind of negative, and obviously the constant onslaught of attacks and am I going to be breached is a constant worry. But be positive. Life is great. Your job's cool. You're learning new stuff, and you've got to keep learning, stay on top of things. So if you like learning, it's the right place to be. And we've got a good community. There's a few things go both bad, but if you generally look at the by and large of people who are positive contributors, the amount of positive stuff and support on LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever else, meetups is huge. The amount of meetups that people run for the love of doing it and just to have engagement and talk to people. So I think we have a really, really good community, and I think we very easily forget that. So remember the awesome community and be positive and be thankful for your awesome life.
Thank you very much for the great message, for the positive message, and thank you for coming on the call, Kevin. It's been an absolute pleasure, and probably we need to do a follow-up on this one, on a few other bits and bobs. I had like a long list of questions I want to talk about, but unfortunately we reached close to the time. I really thank you for the time, and see you next time. Thank you everybody for listening in. Cheers guys, bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcast and post it on social media tagging Cybersecurity Cloud Podcast for a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Discover other episodes at www.cybersecuritypodcast.com.